Sunday, we headed back to Block and Bottle for lunch. It was a beautiful day, so we decided to eat out on their deck. I got a BLT, Melissa got a chicken sandwich that was too big for her to eat gracefully, and Alex got a steak.
Well, I went back to another favorite author, Katherine Reay, and read the Berlin Letters. It's been out for a little while, but I hadn't read it yet. It's historical fiction. The main character was born in Germany. Her grandparents had moved to the west side of Germany, and her parents were on the east right before the wall went up. And as the wall went up in Berlin, her mom passed her over to her grandparents, and so she is raised by her grandparents, separated from her parents, not realizing that they were alive at all, thinking that they were killed when she was a baby. She grows up in the United States with her grandparents, and she, after her grandfather dies, she's trying to take care of her grandmother, and she runs across some letters that her grandpa had sent or had received, and they were from her father. And so that kind of starts an interesting story for her as she tries to determine what all is going on in these letters. Her grandfather has always done lots of puzzles with her and code breaking and games, and it turns out that her grandfather was getting these letters from her dad, but there are things encoded in them. She is already working for the State Department, and so she already knows a little something about code breaking. So much of the story is her discovering her past and her parents, and is really kind of a window into what was going on in Berlin at the time. The present day is right around the time the wall's about to fall. So if you're interested in that story, in a divided Berlin and what was going on at the time, I would say that the Berlin Letters is really well done.
For Monday's dinner, we again got a tasty meal made and beautifully plated by Alex. It has been so great to get these really healthy meals plated so nicely that we can just eat at home. Really not a whole lot going on in my life this week. I took a trip up to Stern Park in Littleton, and I also hung out with the Hummers in my backyard, but not a whole lot to talk about.
I read Vying for the Viscount by Kristi and Hunter, and the title makes you think that it's some intense pursuit, but really this story was about a young woman who really just loves horses, and she knows that she has to marry, and she figures she's gonna have to marry someone she doesn't love, so she's hoping she can at least marry somebody that has a good stable with some good horses. Our other main character is a young Englishman that was raised in India and is well acquainted with horses, and he has now become the Viscount and needs to figure out what to do here in England, where he has never lived, and is trying to make his way in society. One of the ways he could make his stable a good one is to marry another young woman who has a lot of horses, and her dad is kind of making it seem like you have to marry her to get the horses. Anyway, it has a lot more to do with horses and kind of some of that Regency-esque, not quite romance, but maybe. It was an interesting story about a woman trying to figure out what she really cared about. As the two of them get to know each other, even just as friends, I think it was fun and compelling. It wasn't a heavy story, but it was a lot of fun to read. So I would say Vying for the Viscount is not what you'd expect, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Alex finished up a class that had an interesting final. He and his classmates had to host a high tea, Both of our moms went up, as did Melissa and one of Alex's cousins, Shaylin. On the way home, they stopped off for the usual Thursday dinner at Ladine's. When Alex finished his final, he actually headed down the mountain and met me at the movie theater for Drum and Bugle Corps' Quarterfinals, presented as a Fathom Events live presentation. If you've ever participated in marching band, I highly recommend catching Big, Loud, and Live through Fathom Events. Friday night, we got together with our friends Glen and Jen for Costa Vida. Great food, and it was really great to catch up with our friends.